Hello everyone. Today we are going to compile games from scratch on Linux. However, I am not going to run games on my personal machine. Instead, we are going to compile it and run on a remote computer. So this video will be especially helpful if you are a graduate student or a professor at university and you have a local university cluster with many cores and many nodes, and you would like to run games calculations on there. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I am going to start with is I'm going to log in to the remote computer, and I use PuTTY for that because my computer is Windows, and it's free. You can download it as well. I will make sure to leave a link. And the computer I run on is called Condo. It's a university computer. And I will log in with my credentials, which hopefully you will not see, and I will not get in trouble for that. Okay, so we are in, and this is my home directory. There's a lot of stuff in here because I'm already running calculations, but hopefully it will be okay. Let's just do this. Okay, so the first thing to do is you're gonna go back to the game's download information, and hopefully you already selected the Linux download. And basically how we are going to do it is first to get on that page, and I will use wget to directly download it on that computer. But because we need to put our username and source, we will need to make sure that we specify that. So user source and then password. Here, my password is the second week now, over here. And the next thing that we need to do is right click and make sure you use the save link, or actually do copy link address and click it here. And basically this is going to be the download for the current game's release, and you are going to press enter. So excellent. Now we have the game's current.tar.gz file, and if I put ls, so list all, here it is. Here is the file that we downloaded. And then I can follow these installation things over here. So we don't need to do any of that because we are not doing it on our computer. But the next step is going to untar it. So tar.xcvf, and it's called games current, enter. So here you can chill for a second. Okay, now we can type ls again, and we will see that we got this new games folder. So let's cd into the games folder, and I type ls again, and we can see what we have in the directory. So it says that you should read the installation directions. So if you would like to read README, it's very helpful. But I'm gonna go ahead and now go through the compilation with you. So let me just go back to my home directory, and what we are going to do is to compile this version of games with the Intel compilers, because we love Intel compilers and games works beautifully with them. So if your system uses modules, you can just do module load Intel, and that will load basically everything that you need, and you won't need to search anywhere. But if you don't have them, you will have to find where the Intel compilers are. And what you will have to do is, so I did both. I did module load Intel version 17.4, and I also said source the Intel compilers. You can do one of them, you don't have to do both of them. But essentially what this will tell you is that once we start compiling games, specifically we are going to run config, and our system is already gonna know where all the Intel compilers are. So let's start. The first thing that we need to do is to run config, so /config, and there's going to be a series of questions that we will have to answer. The first one, I'm gonna hit enter, and we will enter our target machine name. So I'm compiling on Linux 64. Enter. Games directory, home, Alcon, games. Yours is gonna be different, so I'm just gonna hit enter, and hit enter again, and hit enter one more time. So now we would like to choose a compiler. So just like I said, this compilation video is going to focus on the Intel compilers, so I'm just going to say ifort, and I'm going to hit enter, and it is asking for the version number. I am going to say 17. Try not running games with version 18 because there are some bugs, FYI. But we are working on it. So I hit version 17, enter, and I'm gonna enter one more time. What is going to be our choice of the math libraries? I'm going to say MKL. We're gonna do enter, and now because we already sourced everything, we can just copy and paste the path name. So enter, and then I am going to say proceed in this question. We're gonna do enter. Next, it's going to ask for a communication library, and we all love MPI, so let's go with MPI. And because we're doing Intel, we're gonna continue with impi, and it's right there. So copy the path and paste it. We don't want libxc, so no, and no couple cluster, no. No libccam, and I am going to say no for OpenMP support right now, but I am going to show you how to run calculations with OpenMP threaded version as well. I strongly recommend, if you can run OpenMP version, do that because it's, I mean, much faster. But for now, let's just do without OpenMP. So, excellent. So essentially, running config, all that it did is provide answers to this install.info. So all the questions that we answered are essentially here. And what's going to happen is the makefile is essentially just going to take these games environment variables and compile according to what we answered. The next stuff is to compile DDI and modules. So I'm going to type make DDI, and this will be quite fast, I hope, if this runs, which it should be running. Famous last words. Okay, it is running. Right, I did not say that, but DDI is compiling with GCC, so make sure you have that. Then we type make modules. Here you can hang out for a minute. And you can see that there are some warnings, but that's okay. We all ignore warnings unless it's not an error, so we're just gonna ignore that part. And finally, we are going to make, and I'm gonna use 12 processors. So now you can go make some coffee or just chill for 5 minutes or so. Hope I don't break the system. Great. So, a successful compilation would indicate that you see the following message: the linking of games was successful.